Forget the biggest bank robberies you've ever heard of. Forget the jewel heists. This is the greatest financial vanishing act in human history. The man you are looking at is Jho Low, and this is how he orchestrated the theft of $4.5 billion. A sum so massive, it brought down a government and bought the rights to a Hollywood movie. You won't believe how easily he pulled it off. In 2010, if you were in a VIP club in Las Vegas or New York, Jho Low was the god of the party. He wasn't famous. He didn't look like a movie star. He was a mild-mannered, chubby guy in glasses from Malaysia. But he was doing things that defied physics. He was buying 300 bottles of Cristal champagne at a time. He was flying Paris Hilton around the world on a private Boeing 747. He was gambling and losing $2 million in a single hand of baccarat and laughing about it. Leonardo DiCaprio called him a visionary. Jamie Foxx sang at his birthday party. Britney Spears jumped out of a cake for him. Everyone asked the same question. Who is this guy? He told them he was a prince of Malaysia. He told them he was an heir to a billion-dollar fortune. He told them he was the Asian Great Gatsby. And Hollywood believed him? Wall Street believed him? But they should have looked closer. Because Jho Low wasn't a prince. He wasn't an heir. He was a thief. And the billions of dollars he was spending on yachts, diamonds, and movies didn't belong to him. It belonged to the people of Malaysia. He didn't just steal from a bank. He stole the bank itself. And the craziest part? He used the stolen money to fund a movie about a guy who steals money. Yes, he funded The Wolf of Wall Street. This is the story of Jho Low, the man who bought Hollywood, sold a country, and vanished. To understand the con, you have to understand the insecurity. Jho Low wasn't born poor, but he wasn't private jet rich. He was the son of a garment manufacturer in Penang. But Jho had a superpower. He understood that rich people don't actually check if you are rich. They just check if you look rich. He went to an elite boarding school in London, Harrow, where he met the children of sultans and prime ministers. He realized that if he stood next to them, paid for the drinks, and organized the parties, people assumed he was one of them. He became the fixer. One of those rich friends was Riza Aziz, the stepson of the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Najib Razak. This friendship was the key to the vault. In 2009, Jho Low helped set up a sovereign wealth fund called 1MDB, One Malaysia Development Berhad. The pitch was beautiful. The government would borrow billions of dollars to invest in green energy, tourism, and infrastructure. It was supposed to turn Malaysia into a developed nation. But Jho Low had a different plan. He didn't hold an official title at 1MDB. He wasn't the CEO. He wasn't the chairman. He was the advisor, the ghost in the machine. Here is how the heist worked. It was terrifyingly simple. 1MDB would borrow $1 billion from a bank like Goldman Sachs to invest in a joint venture with a Saudi oil company. The money would leave Malaysia and land in a Swiss bank account. But then, Jho Low would instruct the bank to split the money. $300 million would go to the oil company, and $700 million would go to a shell company in the Seychelles called Goodstar Limited. Who owned Goodstar Limited? Jho Low. He did this over and over again. Bonds, loans, power plant deals. Every time money moved, Jho Low took a cut. In total, the U.S. Department of Justice estimates that $4.5 billion was siphoned out of the fund. So, what do you do when you are 29 years old and you suddenly have access to unlimited billions? You become the king of New York. Jho Low arrived in America like a hurricane made of cash. He bought the Time Warner Center penthouse in Manhattan for $30 million. He bought a mansion in Beverly Hills for $39 million. But real estate is boring. Jho wanted to be famous, so he started buying people. He targeted the biggest celebrities in the world. He wanted to be Leonardo DiCaprio's best friend, so he did what any normal friend would do. He bought him a Picasso painting for $3.2 million. He bought him a Basquiat collage for $9 million. He bought him Marlon Brando's actual Oscar statuette for $600,000. And Leo? He accepted it. Why wouldn't he? This was Jho Low, the billionaire visionary. Then came the women. Jho Low set his sights on supermodel Miranda Kerr. He didn't just buy her flowers, he bought her an 11.72-carat heart-shaped diamond pendant for Valentine's Day. Cost $1.29 million. A few months later, he bought her an 8.88-carat diamond pendant worth $4.8 million. In total, he gave her nearly $10 million worth of jewelry in a single year. For a guy from Penang, he was dating the most beautiful women on earth. The money was a magnet that defied physics. But the peak of his insanity, and the moment the simulation broke, was the yacht. Jho Low commissioned a custom super yacht. He named it the Equanimity. Equanimity means mental calmness in a difficult situation, which is ironic considering what was about to happen. This wasn't just a boat. It was a floating city. 300 feet long, it had a spa, a gym, a beauty salon, and a helicopter pad. It cost $250 million, and he paid for it with wire transfers directly from the 1MDB fund. He was literally floating on the stolen retirement savings of Malaysian teachers and nurses. But Jho Low had one more ambition. He wanted to be a movie mogul. He and the Prime Minister's stepson started a production company called Red Granite Pictures. They went to Hollywood and said, "We have money. We want to make movies." They decided to fund a project that every other studio had rejected as too risky. A Martin Scorsese film about a corrupt stockbroker who defrauds investors and lives a life of drug-fueled debauchery. The Wolf of Wall Street. You cannot make this up. Jho Low funded the movie The Wolf of Wall Street using money he stole in a scheme that was exactly like The Wolf of Wall Street. He put $100 million into the production. There is a scene in the movie where Leonardo DiCaprio throws a party on a yacht. That party was likely inspired by the actual parties Jho Low threw for the cast. When the movie won a Golden Globe, Leonardo DiCaprio went on stage and thanked Jho Low by name. He called him a collaborator and a friend. Jho Low was sitting in the audience, in a tuxedo, smiling. He had done it. He had washed the dirty money and turned it into Hollywood gold. But gravity always wins. While Joe was popping champagne with Paris Hilton, journalists were starting to ask questions. A website called Sarawak Report and the Wall Street Journal started tracking the money. They noticed that 1MDB had billions in debt, but no assets to show for it. Where was the power plant? Where was the oil? Then the FBI got involved. The sheer volume of money moving through U.S. banks triggered the alarms. You can't just wire $100 million to a Las Vegas casino without someone noticing. In 2016, the House of Cards collapsed. The U.S. Department of Justice announced the largest asset seizure in history. They filed a lawsuit to seize the penthouse, the jet, the diamonds, the artwork, and the yacht. They explicitly named Malaysian official one as a co-conspirator. Everyone knew it was the Prime Minister, Najib Razak. The fallout was nuclear. The Prime Minister of Malaysia lost the election, the first time his party had lost in 60 years. He was arrested. Police raided his house and found 12,000 pieces of jewelry, 567 handbags, mostly Hermes Birkins, and $30 million in cash stuffed into suitcases. Najib Razak is now sitting in a prison cell. Leonardo DiCaprio had to hand over the Picasso, the Basquiat, and the Oscar to the authorities. He had to testify to a grand jury. Miranda Kerr had to open her safe deposit box and hand over millions in diamonds to the FBI. The Equanimity yacht was seized off the coast of Bali. The Indonesian police boarded it. The yacht was eventually sold to a casino magnate for a discount price of $126 million. But what about Jho Low? The mastermind? The whale? He ran. Before the FBI could cuff him, Jho Low vanished. He is currently one of the most wanted fugitives on the planet. Interpol has a red notice on him. So, where is he? According to recent reports from 2024 and 2025, Jho Low is hiding in China. He is allegedly living in a mansion in Shanghai or hiding in Macau. He isn't living in a hole. He is living in luxury. Journalists believe he is being protected because he knows too much about where the money went. He reportedly uses the alias Konstantinos Achilles Vase and travels on a fake passport. He is still making deals. He is still moving money. But he is a prisoner in a gilded cage. He can never leave China. If he steps foot in Thailand, Singapore, or Europe, he will be in handcuffs within an hour. The story of Jho Low is the ultimate indictment of our system. He didn't hack a computer. He didn't rob a bank with a gun. He simply walked into the front door of Goldman Sachs, Christie's, and Hollywood and waved a checkbook. And because the checkbook was thick enough, nobody asked where the money came from. The bankers took the fees. The actors took the gifts. The models took the diamonds. They all ate from the trough, and they all looked the other way. Jho Low proved that if you steal a little, you are a criminal. But if you steal $4.5 billion, you are a visionary. Until, of course, the music stops. So the next time you see a billionaire on Instagram, or a producer funding a massive blockbuster out of nowhere, ask yourself the question nobody asked Jho Low. Where did the money come from? Because usually, if it looks too good to be true, it's because someone else is paying for it. If you want to know about the other billionaires hiding in plain sight, or the financial crimes that built the modern world, make sure you are subscribed.